Hey guys, RoxBox90 here with another video in similar style to my buying MTG packs video. This one is going to discuss the origins of the Mythic Rare and its development over the last 5-ish years that it's been in existence. So originally the Mythic Rare was released during a Lara block, and Wizards incorporated it into Magic for their main overarching reason was to do with expanding the game so it's a more modern, up-to-date playing card game, because a lot of other card games have a mythic rarity or even more than one additional rarity than just the 3 common, uncommon, and rare that had been for a long time. So they announced a number of things, and they said in general there will be 15 mythic rare cards. This is back in Alara, in larger sets, and 10 appear in smaller sets. And of course, the most well-known mythic card type is going to be Planeswalker. So what makes these cards mythic rare? Well, they are, in quotes, twice as rare as a rare card, and come in about 1 in 8 packs on average, obviously without box mapping or messing up percentages. But what is the definition of it from Wizards' point of view? Well, rares appear in 1 pack. This is quoted from the official Wizards site. They appear in 1 pack, except roughly 1 in 8 packs when you get a mythic rare, and the 1 in 8 packs might make it feel as if mythic rares are 7 times as rare as a regular rare card, but they are not. They are twice as rare. That was pretty much how they defined it, but of course it leads to the question of, if you have rare cards and you have mythic rare cards, how do they separate between a rare and a mythic rare? Generally speaking, this is another quote from, I think this was a Mark Rosewater article, the cards like Planeswalkers, most legends, and epic feeling creatures and spells. They will not just be, and they italicize the not, just a list of each set's most powerful tournament level cards. Let's break this statement down. As far as Planeswalkers are concerned, this rings quite true to me. Planeswalkers originally began in Lorwyn, for those who don't know, as rare cards, rares. The original Jace, Chandra, Ajani, Garruk, and Liliana. This never felt quite right, as Planeswalkers were definitely iconic when they first hit, and they've been majorly iconic ever since. They are not just playing cards, they are characters and entities in the Magic world that have been used for marketing purposes and all sorts of storytelling purposes to enhance and broaden the game. They have their own genre within the Magic field. They're unique, and they're quite flavorful at Mythic. And they are designed to be this special, this different from all other Magic cards. So they even have a different card frame. However good or bad individual Planeswalkers have been, they make complete sense to fit in the Mythic category. So when Wizards says they mean Planeswalkers, I'm on board with that. However, everything else they say in their statement is is much less clear, even till today. And in fact, it makes a lot less sense. Most legends, in quotes, most legends, is entirely untrue, as many legends are slotted into the rare category, which makes me wonder why they chose the ones they chose over those that they didn't. So, for example, you have Rurik Thar, who is definitely powerful enough to be a mythic and definitely could have major constructed playability. Even if he doesn't show such major playability this second, he does have constructed viability crazy. Definitely a bomb of a bomb, close to Titan range. And yet, he's just a rare. While cards from, okay, this isn't from within the same set, but recent standard, you have cards like Tristani and Mikaeus the Lunarch, who are both set at Mythic, and they are definitely much less powerful cards, and even in flavor-wise, they're just much less iconic. How does Wizards define which should be Mythic and which should not? Because it seems to me highly unclear. As to epic feeling, again quoted directly from them, I think Wizards often ignores the legendaries and epic feelings in favor of the ones that will definitely be major competitive cards. So they say that we're specifically not going to be a list of most powerful tournament level cards, and yet we know this is untrue because they often have slotted into Mythic some of the most powerful cards. While this is not universal, obviously you have cards like Snapcaster Mage that exist. If he was Mythic, that would be unreal and totally unfair and insane. He'd be many times what his price is right now. But for the most part, you have, in recent years, we have things like Baneslayer Angel, Archangel of Thune, Batterskull, Voice of Resurgence, all the Titans. The list goes on and on. These are all incredibly playable cards, And even from the get-go, they were put in the Mythic category, and it was obvious to anyone looking at them they're gonna be highly played. They're awesome, freaking awesome cards. What was Wizards thinking? Well, apparently they are putting a lot of cards into the competitive slots, and they're putting Mythics there, which makes them highly sought after and highly expensive cards. This doesn't exactly help the Wizards themselves, because Wizards makes most of their money not off the secondary market of singles, but makes their money off the packs. However, they do get a lot of people to open packs in hope of getting these cards, and they also make the cards themselves highly sought after, which I think conflicts with other cards, which we'll get to near the end of the video. That's not to say that the Mythic must be competitively playable. Wizards definitely doesn't make them all fantastic cards. Some are there just for flavor and feel and will never see any sort of real play. They're there for casual players, they're there just for the flavor of sets, etc., etc. So the problem, of course, is how to measure this epic feeling, because it's a very generic statement. Anything could fit that category, because many mythics are not flavorful and epic. So, for instance, you have cards, these are a little further back, but you have like Sphinx Ambassador, Dragon Broodmother, and more recently Primeval Bounty, Essence of the Wild, Archangel's Light, Beguiler of Wills, Primal Surge. All these cards are not that great for the most part, but they've been put in the Mythic category. Are they necessarily that epic feeling? Not necessarily. Archangel's Light is not that epic at all. Beguiler of Wills is not that epic, etc., etc. Most of them are not even that epic feeling, even to me, and I'm pretty sure most of you would agree with what I'm saying. So then let's quote Wizards again. So not epic feeling is very unclear. Quote, we've also decided that there are certain things we specifically do not want to be mythic rares. The largest category is utility cards, and they're defining this, to quote, as cards that fill a universal function. Examples would include cycles of dual lands and cards like Mutavault or Char. Okay, the problem with this statement is that it's not exactly true, because they have printed cards that fit a universal category at Mythic. You have cards like Batterskull, anyone? Mox Opal, Lux Cannon, Molten Tail Masticore. Most recently, I would even put maybe Ring of Three Wishes in this category. All of them are colorless. They are all can be used universally in all colors and in many deck builds. And in fact, we know that Mox Opal and Batterskull are highly playable and are highly played. So there goes that statement that we're not gonna make mythic rares of these utility cards. Obviously, these aren't quite as impactful as dual lands, but come on, Batterskull is used all over the place. Mox Opal is basically land for Tron decks and for many other artifact builds. So, please, Wizards. Honestly, I think Wizards gave a very broad, vague description back in the day when they were creating the Mythics, in order that they could do whatever they wanted with the category. This is something I think Wizards has to revisit and revise, because I'm not quite sure that allowing them to just go along with this path of doing whatever they want is that good for the game. Wizards declares that it is good for the game, and they declare the Mythic Rarity is necessary to compete and be involved in modern trading card games. But I would argue, if that is necessary, Wizards, then you have to readdress this definition and keep to certain reasonable standards. What standards would I suggest? I would think, 1, Planeswalkers should always be Mythic the way they've been. If Wizards wants iconic cards that people would buy lots of packs for, the Planeswalkers are more than enough of a Mythic incentive, especially for more casual players. They don't dominate standard play quite as much as many of their other non-Planeswalker types, so casual players can actually have them accessible. People will trade them to other people. They are most of the time financially accessible, especially after the set's been out for a little bit. They are just an epic, mythic, unique card that is iconic and will sell packs. And at mythic status is something just rare enough that people will be, it's something unique, people will search after, and will define the game for the largest number of players. So I think it fits a mythic category perfectly. Secondly, legendary should either be universally mythic or not at all mythic. Why do I say this? Because it seems like Wizards has no idea what they're deciding for which ones are mythic and which ones are not mythic. So if you're going to be unclear about which ones are best to be mythic or rare, then either make them all mythic and have, I guess, either fewer legends or whatever balanced into the set, or just don't have them at all. Look, we just had the Return to Ravnica block, and in that block, then they had them legendaries at rare status, and that was fine. If Rorikthar can be a rare, why can't all of the legendaries be rare? I think this should be something they should consider figuring out, whether they want to make the legendaries mythic or not. They can't keep confusing because according to their own definition, they're just not clear at all. And lastly, I think they should cut this epic feeling nonsense. If it's going to be so blurred, then try to be more consistent. If they need an epic feeling, whatever that means, then it should be a high mana cost, splashy card. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be a Baneslayer and Thundermoor Hellkite and Voice of Resurgence. These cards are cards that people across the board will want to use. They don't fit that huge epic splash. You play a Baneslayer or Angel, it's not going to do the same thing even as a Genesis Wave would, pumped up, and Genesis Wave is a rare. So if you're going to have, so obviously one's a creature, one's a spell, but you could have cards that are like Elish Norn was a much larger drop and was legendary and mythic. That sort of thing, making Baneslayer mythic, Thundermoor mythic, just makes them incredibly more expensive and incredibly more sought after, and does not fit their definition of not making dedicated for competitive, because they were clearly designed to be competitive cards. That's a long discussion, but really I'd like to hear what you guys think about the Mythic Rare as it's progressed, the Mythic Rare as Wizards has originally stated and intended it to be, and how it's developed. Do you guys think that Wizards has kept to what they've said? And do you have any other thoughts about the Mythic Rare, whether today and past, anything? Let me know all your thoughts below in the comments section. As well, check out my channel sponsors in the description of the video. And as always, Roxbox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.